Japan anime news powered by Newtype. Gundam says we should talk about Zeke axes. I don't know if that's true, but it's probably fine at this timing. This week, I've seen it in theaters, and Nemoto-kun, the TV writer, has seen it too. Nemoto-kun has seen it, but I've obviously been watching the original Gundam for over 30 years. And Nemoto-kun likes anime, but he's never seen Gundam before, right? Is that even possible? This is a podcast featuring such people. We'll be discussing the theatrical version of Mobile Suit Gundam Zeke Axis, which has been restructured for theater screenings. This program is a podcast that delivers anime information to the world through the multilingual audio translation tool, Lingueene. This is a podcast where I, Hisanori Yoshida, share the latest information about Japanese anime and anime culture with the world, based on the latest anime news gathered from KADOKAWA's anime magazine Newtype editorial department. The magazine itself is named Newtype because of Gundam, after all. Now, this program was recorded on January 27th, 2025. Additionally, we are using the multilingual audio translation tool, Lingueene, for translations. Please note that non-Japanese languages may contain inaccuracies due to AI translation. Hisanori Yoshida's Japan anime news powered by Newtype. Let's start this week with the news. Bandori Abemujika, shocking episode 4. Trend set number 1, episode 4. I had seen it in advance, but it will be broadcast on the 23rd on Tokyo MX and other channels. I can spoil a little more, right? You know, the split personality is unpredictable. You're like, what? When you see that. I was surprised. Moreover, I was told, this is all for today. And I thought, oh, is that all? But then I realized, here comes the real twist. I was shocked. And really right now on X, the hashtag in katakana, anime musica, is simply trending at number 1. Oh, it's really something. The synchronicity of various things is becoming quite significant. This weekend, I went to the Lisani Live held at Budokan, and Abemujika was there too. You know, that event requires a lot of attention. On that day, it was hosted by Akihiro Tomita, a music critic who also works on the Anime Song Awards. So I was watching, and Tomita-san said, "Did everyone see it?" And about 80% had seen it, but 20% hadn't. We were holding the event in this strange atmosphere where I couldn't just speak for those people. The strange atmosphere, of course, was overwhelming, with a vibe of, wow, that's amazing. But at the same time, it felt like there was this conflict. Like, is this band really having such a dispute? So, at the Lisani Live event, after artists perform at Budokan, there's always a brief interview, usually quite lengthy, but there was absolutely no MC or interviews for Abemujika. That's the situation right now. That's how it is. It's linked to the anime, so there might be some serious behind-the-scenes conflicts, and I don't know which personality is coming out right now. That's the situation with Abemujika. I really wonder how that's going to turn out. There should be 13 episodes, right? By the way, there was one post on X that I really liked, which was about my go from the previous series. At the stage of episode 4, I believe they were arguing about whether or not to use castanets. Now, the popular game series Guilty Gear is being adapted into a television anime for the first time. I haven't played it, but it seems that Guilty Gear Strive Dual Rulers will start airing in April. The original Guilty Gear series, developed by Arc System Works, is a popular fighting game that has continued from the first installment released in 1998 to the latest version released in 2021. Well, there was an announcement a little while ago. Director Shinichiro Watanabe and MAPPA's sci-fi action Lazarus. Yes. It has been decided that it will start airing in April. When we think of director Shinichiro Watanabe, we naturally think of Cowboy Bebop. And MAPPA is currently known for high-quality works like Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man. Recently, there was also talk about them making Dorohedoro. And at this time, they are indeed working on Zenshu, right? It's amazing when you think about it. MAPPA is collaborating with director Shinichiro Watanabe to create a near-future sci-fi action. Habuna, a miraculous drug that spread worldwide as a means to save humanity, turns out to have a trap where users die 3 years later. The 5 members of the agent team, Lazarus, gathered to resist the conspiracy, begin their mission to find the developer, Skinner, who holds the vaccine within a 30-day time limit. I thought, doesn't that sound interesting? I want to see it soon. The ReZero third season's counterattack arc will start airing on February 5th. The third season of ReZero is split into 2 parts. The Assault arc will air from October 2024 over 8 episodes, ending on a really exciting note. The continuation, the counterattack arc, will begin from episode 8 Since it's called a counterattack, it should be quite satisfying from here on. It starts airing on February 5th. And then there's the theatrical version of Princess Mononoke. Last year, Mononoke also became a smash hit. But when you go to the theater, you wonder what kind of brain could create such visuals. This was directed by Kenji Nakamura, not Watanabe, and it was truly amazing. The theme song for Chapter 2 was by Aimer, just like in the first episode. However, the ending of the theatrical version of Mononoke is actually very long. This is because an incredibly large number of people were involved, and Aimer's ending theme played throughout that entire time. Following Chapter 1's Karasaka, Aina J. End will be singing. By the way, I have also participated in stage greetings. I have been in charge of the stage greetings for Mononoke for a long time, and I think I have done it about 2 or 3 times for this theatrical release as well. The depth of creativity is truly incredible. The protagonist in Mononoke is a medicine seller. This medicine seller actually exists in multiple world lines, and it's okay for the voice to be different in each world line. In this series, Hiroshi Kamiya is voicing the character. That's right. Yes. And then, a nearby industry has announced the end of Cho ANG+. There is a broadcasting station very close to us at Bunka Hoso, located between Yurakucho and Hamamatsucho, with only Shinbashi Station in between. This station produces a lot of anime radio content. On the 21st, they updated their official website and announced that the internet radio service Cho ANG+, which focuses on anime, games, and voice actor content, will end on March 30th. At one time, it boasted tremendous access, but now it seems that the number of people interested in anime radio has decreased compared to the past. I didn't expect YouTube to become so widespread after all. So, a significant era is coming to an end. And Kimi to Idol Precure will start airing from February 2nd. The Precure and Sentai series always switch a little later than December or January. It seems like the Sentai this time is really something special. I was surprised to hear that the theme song is by Winners. I love them, but I thought, Winners? They are the ones who have been doing Sentai as a band. And well, there's Precure airing alongside the Sentai. The new installment, which is the 22nd in the TV anime Precure series, will start airing on February 2nd. Everything is aligned with the number 2. The theme is idols, and the story depicts Precure, who have become idols singing, dancing, and interacting with fans, saving people who have lost their sparkle with the message, "You shine and become strong because you are here." This sounds like a typical on-site story, doesn't it? I feel like there isn't much need for it to be Precure, but maybe it's because it's Precure. Well, in the latest news, I've been involved in the anime scene for a while, and actually there was an event on Sunday, January 26th. It was exactly 1 year since the release of Gundam Seed Freedom as a theatrical version last year on January 26th. A year later, it has made an astonishing box office revenue of 5.3 billion yen. From what I've researched, it ranks 6th among all Japanese films released last year in terms of box office revenue. Most of the films in that ranking are anime. As for the 6th ranked film, the number of audience members was in the millions, which is quite impressive. There was a 1-year anniversary event with director Fukuda, along with voice actors Soichiro Hoshi, Rie Tanaka, and Kenichi Suzumura, as well as Hiro Shimono and Sumire Uesaka, who participated in this film. They all came together for a stage greeting and talked about the film there. Well, Seed is really loved, isn't it? It's completely different from other works. Everyone, the characters, they say it. You know, it's been a year since its release, so I don't think there's any problem with this, but they fight while having a lover's quarrel. Do you understand? They battle while saying things like, "What's so good about that mountain monkey?" The mobile suit battles are incredibly rich, and that's what I love about it. Just yesterday, at the stage greeting I was filming, I casually asked, "What's the maximum number of times someone has seen it?" There was someone who had seen it 157 times. It's unbelievable, right? The streaming has also started, and it had over 3 million simultaneous connections. Everyone said they loved the Seed after doing that, but it wasn't the right timing. After the last stage greeting ended and the cast members left the stage, they said, "Now please take a look at this," and asked us to shake it. And that's when the special teaser for Zeke Axe was shown. I understand how Sunrise feels when they say, "This is the moment." According to what I heard directly from Sunrise, typically, a movie has the highest attendance during its opening week. That makes sense, right? People who have been waiting and wanting to see it gather in droves. After that, it spreads through word of mouth, but surprisingly, Zeke Axe has had more audience in its second week. In other words, it seems everyone is saying, you have to see this. Well, that's enough, right? I mean, it is what it is. Today I'm talking about the Z Gundam. Initially, the professionals turned the original Gundam into a doujin film. In essence, the Gundam series starts with the original Gundam, which is already considered canon by everyone. It's so firmly established that it's referred to as the correct history. When we talk about the 1 Year War, it begins with Char on his mothership and his subordinates launching an attack on Side 7. Because this is where it all starts, his subordinates make mistakes, leading Amuro to pilot the Gundam. This is where everything begins, the 1 Year War. However, at this starting point, one might wonder what would happen if the skilled pilot Char had gone to Side 7 himself. This is what the professionals from Kara, who created Evangelion, have explored in this new work. This time, Zig-Ax is already developing with the 3 girls, Machu, and the 2 boys, right? Various promotional videos have already been released. In the beginning, they don't appear for the first 30 or 40 minutes. The story starts with Char in Gundam, and it unfolds with the idea that Char might get into the Gundam. While it seems like they have written it in detail, ultimately, in the original Gundam, the Federation wins the battle against Zeon. However, in this world, because Char gets into the Gundam, Zeon wins, which is the world of Zig-Ax. Looking at this, it starts with the same narration as the original Mobile Suit Gundam from the very beginning. It begins with the same narration, and while the image quality is good now, the angle at which the colony falls is the same. And it starts with the subtitle Pipipin Pipipin, which is the Gundam subtitle. Besides that, all the little details like the head's ball, are all there. The mono eye starting with a boom, I know it all. I know it all. And to put it in terms of imagery, the other day I did a stream with a critic who really loves anime and game creators, talking about ZeekWorks. One of the game developers, Jiro Ishii, said when asked, "What would you say in one word about this ZeekWorks?" He replied, "It's Giren's greed." And that's exactly it. Giren's Ambition is a game based on the Gundam universe, where you can create your own battles by putting your favorite pilots in your favorite mobile suits, just the way you like it. That's what makes it exciting. This means that sometimes Zeon can win. Ultimately, what I was saying is that Anno and Tsurumaki, with Tsurumaki directing this time, and Anno Hideaki helping out in various ways, are showing us the save data of their Giren's Ambition. When I heard that, I thought, that's right, I really felt that way. During our discussions, the critic Uno Yoshihiro said something that resonated with me. We all need to be calm for a moment. How do we become calm? Gundam is saying, this is how we turn the official history into an alternate war chronicle. But in reality, this is an alternate war chronicle of an alternate war chronicle. Has there ever been such a double-layered setup in history? But after all, it's Japan. What I think is that there is Star Wars in the world. And Star Wars has produced a lot of things like that. I thought Japan has Gundam. That's the feeling. Star Wars has also had many different series, right? I think Zeke-Axis is probably something like that too. So when I first saw Nemoto-kun, I wasn't thinking that far, right? What did you think about the first half? You're telling me the synopsis, right? Yeah, but from our perspective, it's not just the plain synopsis, it's a modified synopsis. It's not just modified. We are already more immersed in the history of Zeon than any country's history. Here, for example, we all know that Dozel dies, right? In this world, it's possible that Dozel hasn't died. Apparently, Caecilia is alive. Did they say Dozel is dead? Big Zam was properly deployed in large numbers. Dozel is dead, and Caecilia is alive, right? Maybe the solar ray hasn't been fired. Or maybe it has, but it hasn't hit Caecilia. There are various things to consider. Since I have that kind of official history in my head, the fact that there is a setting from ZeekWorks means that right now, there are an unsettling number of analysis videos on YouTube. There are an incredible number of them. A significant portion of those might be correct, while a considerable part might be wrong. Looking at this, there are people who haven't touched Gundam at all, and they're asking, are you watching The Witch from Mercury? No, I'm not. Even though it was so popular. The Witch from Mercury had absolutely no relation to the first Gundam, so I don't mind at all. I wonder if young people will really come to this, considering it's a hot topic. After seeing it once, I think I might want to watch the anime too. After seeing it once, I also think I might want to watch the TV series anime. That's true. But you know, when I went to the theater, I realized that I'm actually turning 50 this year, and I felt like I was one of the younger ones there. I went today during the weekday afternoon. Yeah, I went during the weekday afternoon. The theater was packed, and there were quite a few young people. Rather, it seemed like older guys who had dedicated their lives to Gundam were the first to show up, followed by the veteran Zeon soldiers, and now the new recruits are coming in one after another. That's accurate. It really is a hit. At the time, I went, honestly, the young people I noticed were mostly watching Project Sekai. They were watching the Hatsune Miku Project Sekai. There was a hurdle to following the history. I thought, Gundam is too long, and if I don't know the previous parts, it's hard to even start watching, but it looks interesting. However, this time it's packaged nicely and shortened, so I think that's fine. I see. Really, from an older person's perspective, it's like, I see. Well, if I forget about Gundam and think about watching it again, I think it's really good. I wonder if this could spark a huge movement. This might lead people to watch the past series, and there will definitely be those who get hooked because it's so different. Not long ago, there was Hathaway's Flash, right? Hathaway's Flash is incredibly interesting, but if you haven't seen the original Gundam, you wouldn't understand it at all. It opens up a world like that. They're also making a second installment of Hathaway now. It really feels like Gundam is on the rise again this time. Gundam Seed was a big hit, and then Witch from Mercury also did well. If you think about it, Gundam 00 was also successful, and despite everything, I really feel that Gundam is a content that just won't die. Is it true that the batting average is higher than Star Wars? Even more than The Mandalorian, but The Mandalorian is still a hit, right? The other dramas are disappointing. I'm sorry, I'm talking without really understanding Star Wars at all. So, it seems that the fandom has a lot of disappointments. This time, the second week doesn't have a pamphlet, right? Is it a special gift for attendees? Design works. A setting materials collection. Well. Oh, I see. But you know, the way they name things here is already by Yoji Enokido, right? He's the one writing the script. Everyone is already saying various things about that. Since Enokido is involved, this is probably related to Japanese mythology. And it goes on and on, endlessly. While the analysis might be enjoyable now, it creates an incredibly satisfying situation for those who love to analyze. Regarding the profound Zikax, the anime I am currently watching this season. Of course, I'm also watching Zenshu. I'm also watching Abe Mujika, Okitsura. When I talked about the girl I fell in love with in Okinawa speaks too much dialect, I received 2 emails this week. This one is from the radio name Inshurok. Good evening, Yoshida-san. I emailed because you talked about Okitsura on the last episode of this program. I'm enjoying Okitsura every week. I heard that there is a work this season that parodies my favorite anime Zombieland Saga, and it seems to be from MAPPA. After watching the first episode, I completely got hooked. It's really good. I especially love the character Higa, played by Feruzai, since she also played a protagonist from a southern island in another series I love, the Precure series. I think Feruzai really suits characters from southern islands or hot places every episode. I think it's because you have experience living in Egypt, as you mentioned in parentheses. Mr. Files is from Egypt. Recently, there was an exhibition in Yokohama where you could enter the Pyramid of Khufu in VR as part of a VR project. That's amazing, but Mr. Files is doing the narration for it. I heard a long time ago that Mr. Files participated in a marathon during an elementary school event, running around the pyramid. I thought that was quite impressive. Of course, I always look forward to the opening sung by HY, and I can't help but clap along during the clapping part. It's great. I'm really enjoying watching Okitsura right now. Hello, Yoshida-san, this is Kapain. Thank you for this week as well. There was talk about the 2025 manga adaptation ranking and the 2025 manga awards, but personally, my favorite is Robo no Fuji. That calm feeling really resonates with me. I truly feel the same way. I also voted in the first round, and since it's still nominated, I personally think Robo no Fuji has a chance for the grand prize this year. It really is a story about well-being. By the way, I actually host a Japanese podcast called Manga no Radio, and the author you mentioned has been a guest on the show. We've had a nice, slow conversation, and it's amazing that even though it's such a well-being focused work, the author didn't know the term well-being. I find that really impressive. It's Mr. Nabakura. And last time, there was a story about the girl I fell in love with in Okinawa having such a strong dialect that it's too hard, but it seems like this is becoming like the official radio of Okitsura. I'm curious about how Okinawan dialect is translated into English, and I quickly checked Crunchyroll, but it seems that only the subtitled version is available for now. How do you express Japanese dialects like Osaka dialect in English to begin with? I wondered what a bilingual voice actor like Amaki Sari would do. Oh, isn't it something like the girl I fell in love with in Hawaii? It's too hard because of the dialect, right? I remember asking Amaki-Sari a while ago that when she played a character named Allstone in the anime Tomo-chan is a Girl, she voiced both the Japanese and English versions. In that case, since the character is said to be from the UK, she mentioned that she used a British-sounding English. From our perspective, we can't really understand more than, Well, I guess there might be some flexibility in this expression if one tries. I can understand about 5% of the Okinawan dialect when listening with a Japanese mindset in English. There are some similar words like how sugar donuts are called sata andagi. From a Japanese perspective, it's not completely incomprehensible to connect sugar and sata. Since English has spread widely around the world, I wonder if it's similar when someone falls in love with a dialect that's too strong. Like in South Africa, I have no idea how the distribution of accents around the world looks, but there are quite a few places in southern countries where English is used. Singapore even calls it Singlish. Oh, I wonder how it all works. For those who understand English dialects, there must be a unique way to appreciate it, right? I wonder how the subtitles are handled to begin with. I think this anime is made in a relaxed manner without considering global expansion. So this time, we mainly talked about Okitsura. So this week's anime news powered by Newtype. When posting your thoughts about the show on social media, please use the hashtag JAnime. If you have any comments about the show, regardless of whether others have seen it or not, you can email me at janime242.com and I will take note of them. By the way, I watched Zeke Axis. I wonder why I received 2 emails about Okitsura at this time, but not a single one about Zeke Axis. It's probably because there are many other topics to discuss. So we will bring you the latest anime news again next week. This was Nippon Broadcasting announcer Hisanori Yoshida.